Hi, Sandites. Welcome to almost the beginning of the new school year, 26-27. It's unbelievable. We are ready to go. This podcast is our very first one for the year, and we have quite a bit of information to share with you. So we're not going to spend a lot of time with the fluff at the beginning. We have three guests, the first of which is Miss Terry Lee, better known as the Limestone Principal, one of our fan favorites. And the first line of discussion is really about the recess change for this year. Our legislature passed Senate Bill 1481 this spring, which added 20 additional minutes of recess daily for our elementary students. So that means that we now have to provide 40 minutes of recess every day. The wrench that was thrown at us by an opinion from a State Department of Ed attorney was that those minutes couldn't be counted for instruction as they always have been allowed. So there's a little bit of question about what state law says at this point. However, for accreditation purposes, it is what it is. Superintendent Fields is allowing us to count 20 minutes, which helps a lot. But in reference to accreditation standards, we've had to add 10 additional minutes just to make sure we have a few bank days for inclement weather this year, Terry.
Nice.
So, yes. So Miss Lee's going to talk a little bit about how we arrived at the decision for adding the 10 minutes at the beginning of the day. I know there were some questions on Q&A about breakfast, so we want to for sure answer those. And then
Absolutely.
tardy was kind of a big question too, Terry. So I'm just going to let you take that and talk about our reasoning.
Sure. So adding 20 minutes doesn't sound like a big deal to everybody, but when you look at, as you mentioned, our instructional day, we have requirements. Just like kids have rules to follow, we have rules to follow. And you have to account for a 90-minute reading block for students kindergarten through second. So it looks like you're just making minor tweaks to the schedule, but then you get in there and you're like, no, that takes away 20 minutes out of their reading block. And so there was a lot of maneuvering about that. So there are all kinds of rules and regulations that we have to take care of.
Yes.
So the 10-minute early start really doesn't affect our day that much. I know at my site, other sites do it different. Some of them might start with recess. We are going to continue our tradition of Great Expectations, Rise and Shine every morning.
Sure.
So instead of starting Rise and Shine at 7:40, we're just starting at 7:30. Just like we have in the past, the doors are going to open at 7:15. Students have the choice to go to breakfast or to the playground.
Right.
Which I will put a side note in there at the beginning. They have to learn. You have to choose.
Right.
Go eat breakfast first, and then you can go play. So that doesn't count into our 40 minutes of recess.
Right.
So students are going to be eating. If they go in, if we've started Rise and Shine and they're still eating, it's fine. We're going to feed kids just like we always have. Like, we're here to take care of our babies.
Right.
The other thing I would say, it kind of took away the flexibility of teachers.
Right.
So now they're structured to say they're hands deep in a science project. And now, before, they could say, let's just persevere and get through this, and then we'll take a recess, because we know kids need recess.
Correct.
Teachers have been around children for forever. But now it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of whatever. You have to stop and go take
There's probably some advocacy left to do this spring regarding the interpretation of the recess minutes calculation for instruction, which has always been allowed. And just this idea of how many minutes we have in a day. I mean, we're restricted to a finite number of minutes that we have to teach. And there is some magic in the flexibility, particularly at the elementary level, especially if they're self-contained. And so sometimes the magic of being the expert and knowing the right time to quit an activity, because you certainly don't want to quit one when you're in the middle of it, is an art form, in my opinion. But I'm very probably jaded when it comes to education, but we have some really fabulous teachers that just know what they're doing.
We do.
So let's talk about the process, because I know sometimes it seems like decisions are made that are just kind of on the fly. What are they thinking? And that's a fair question. But I do want to take you back to the summer. It's still summer. It feels weird to say this. Really hot outside, but our, school summer
it's not.
is
it's
coming.
School time.
It's school time. So those decisions don't come just on the fly. So can you talk about the couple of meetings we called this summer special with the elementary team. Actually, the first one was the full leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pulled the elementary team together again to really talk about all the suggestions and the ideas. So can you address that a little bit?
So just as many people have thrown out, why don't we just in school 10 minutes later?
Right.
Well, that's a whole domino effect in itself with transportation and all I can't imagine what scheduling all of his bus routes.
Right.
But that goes into your secondary bus routes.
Right.
There are buses going everywhere and everything is down to the minute.
Right.
So that was a huge
Well, we strategically leave an hour gap between those two bus routes so drivers have time to deliver elementary and then go pick up secondary. So there's definitely a rhyme to that, or reason to that rhyme,
yes.
I guess. So what would have affected? Narrow it by 10, and then it's treacherous. With the secondary, we found it necessary to have the secondary leaders in our first meeting, and it was really just about recess for elementary.
Right.
But remember the athletics conversation that happened with the 10 minutes after school?
Right. I mean, again, it affects your transportation.
Mm-hmm.
It affects after school athletics,
right.
Last period athletics in the secondary school.
Right.
So I just want to reiterate that we didn't make this decision just overnight.
Right.
As you mentioned, it took meeting after meeting
right.
and disgestion from our team.
You have a football coach that actually teaches your PE classes.
I do.
And so I know this is a little example, but when we think about him and his commitment to the after school team at football, that's just one person, but it happens. It could happen.
Right.
It happens a lot. That's just one small example. But 10 minutes makes a difference of when I can leave my site. And that was a strategy, too, to be able to find folks that could coach, but also fill an actual PE position in an elementary class. And it's worked really, really well.
It has.
So, snow days. Let's talk about inclement weather a little bit. Ms. Lee, we typically will bank 7-ish. We calculate minutes, so when I say 7-ish, 7 and a little bit of minutes or days in minutes for inclement weather. This year, do you remember how many we used?
10,
no,
right?
We did not.
No, we did not.
I'm putting you on the spot.
You
we used 4. But
we only used 4. It just felt like 10.
I felt like 10. It was kind of good. No, I don't know. Anyway, but sometimes we do use the entire amount. So right now, we know we have a less than 5 banked. If we have a year like last year, then we're kind of good to go. So we're not making up those days. If we have 7, then what we have to think about in the spring is a manipulation of our calendar to either add more minutes to make up that time, or we add days at the end of the year. So that really is the predicament we're in. Have your teachers expressed any kind of...
My teachers aren't grumblers. Like they're here to do the job and do what's best for kids. And so they completely understand. I mean, that's the world we live in. We know how many hours we have to teach, how many days we have to teach. So we just do it. We're here to take care of kids. And in fact, some of them are going to have to come in a little bit earlier just to prepare to be ready by 7:15. And they just do it. They don't complain.
I think that's pretty much the system across the district. I really, we're not utopia. I'm not suggesting that school is utopia, because it's not. But I will say most educators, I think, are in the business for the right reasons. No, just one more time, discuss tardy. So at the end of Rise and Shine.
So again, I can speak for my school. We don't even get to attendance until after Rise and Shine. So students are in the gym doing our pledges and our moment of silence, all the things, working on recitations, celebrating our kiddos. So that takes some time to get started.
Right.
Then teachers are getting them to their classrooms, they're getting unpacked, and that's when they're taking attendance.
Which is
so there's going to be some leeway.
Right.
I'm going to estimate 7:50, 7:45 is when they're going to get to attendance.
Correct. Not to say that you shouldn't be at school by 7:30.
Because they're going to miss out on a lot of fun if they're not there at 7:30.
Absolutely, they're going to miss out on a lot of fun. But I think that's going to be the case at all of our sites. What's cool about your team of colleagues, elementary-wise, you do meet periodically. And mostly there are some differences between sites. There's no doubt. But mostly you're pretty tight-knit group.
Oh, we are. We talk daily, multiple times a day.
Exactly. So you really do collaborate with each other.
We're one team here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's it. Terry, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just excited for next week, next Thursday.
Absolutely. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to shift focus a little bit to child nutrition. I am so proud to introduce Miss Lacey Nida.
Hi.
She is kind of new. She actually started with us in November of last year, but this is her first start of a new year for Sand Springs Public Schools. However, a lady with a lot of experience in child nutrition and just nutrition in general, has all the regulations down to a fine art probably. So we're going to start with meal prices because I know that has been a concern. I need to say that meal prices aren't taken lightly. In fact, this summer we had 2 full board discussions prior to a vote about the why. And Ms. Nida, you prepared quite a bit of information. I kind of tapped you to say, hey, let's do some comparisons regionally with our neighbors, what the U.S. reg is about how much we should be charging. And then I also want to acknowledge that we are a district that has a pretty high degree of folks who qualify for free and reduced.
Correct.
And so that would be something we would never want to ignore. So let's start with what the prices are. How much have they increased?
Okay.
Across the board for each of the levels. And then we'll go into the details of why and how that compares to others. How about that?
Sure, yeah. So we increased breakfast by 20% across the board. Not 20%, 20 cents.
Yes, big difference. Huh?
Big difference. 20 cents across the board. So for K through 5th grade, it'll be $1.80. 6th through 8th grade, also $1.80. And then breakfast 9 through 12 will be $2. Okay. Those are the new prices. And then for lunch, we increased it by 30 cents through the district, bringing our new prices K through 5 to $3, 6 through 8, $3.30, and 9 through 12, $3.40.
Thank you for bringing your cheat sheet, because I would never have remembered that.
I didn't.
At all.
Yeah,
I didn't trust
want to make sure I got it all right.
Myself for sure, but thank you. So those prices will be noted probably in the back to school website page. I'm sure Ms. Chittister is sitting in the background. She's giving me a thumbs up, but yes, they have been. So everything you need to know, by the way, is on that back to school hub. So they're posted, so you can, if you didn't catch that, you don't have to rewatch the podcast. You can go look. But talk to me about, because you kind of brought that to our attention. Hey,
I did.
We have some low prices here, and we asked child nutrition to be self-sustaining, meaning you are a separate fund. There are a lot of regulations that go along with USDA and what you have to do to provide meals.
Sure.
And so just talk about your reasoning into, I think it's going to be, we need to do this.
Right. So when I looked at financials year over year and our trends, in order for us to remain financially stable, and keeping our program afloat, we had to do something. There's inflation with all grocery prices, as we know when we just go to the grocery store.
Right.
And so I did a lot of deep digging. Also, I bid out all of the food, right? So I'm going to try and get the best prices with the best brands to make sure we're serving that high quality. With that being said, I also reached out to several other districts, local, close to us, some comparable in size, and just reached out to see, what they were charging. And we were fairly low on, on that list. And so changing those prices, like you said, was not something that we took lightly. We had a lot of discussion over it over several months, took it to the board a few times. So we do understand that having parents and students pay more for lunch is not something that we want to do. It's just something that we have to do at this point in time.
Right. It's interesting. I want the public to hear me say that the board really peruses through those agendas and asks questions. And you were getting questions about, my goodness, how much do we pay for milk? And they were seeing that price tag on milk in a purchase order. And it was astounding. And I can't remember the total. You might.
I do.
Oh, you do. Of course you do. Well, how much was it?
So it's 41 cents a serving.
Okay.
But you add that up,
Over the PO was
Huge. It's massive. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Like, I want to say hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes, probably about 300,000.
Right, exactly. And it was just astounding, like that much milk. And I think maybe, I don't know, Cassidy quipped, our CFO, and there's a lot of children in each box. We're serving it for breakfast and lunch
we are.
too. So it's just, you don't think about how much things cost when you're trying to feed kids.
Right.
So it's really important that you took the energy and had it in you to say, hey, I'm going to say something that you don't really want to hear, and that is that we really do need to increase. So we try to minimize it.
Of course.
I don't know what that looks like in the future, but again, inflation, as you said, you go buy groceries and you're paying more for all of the things that you need. So it doesn't change just because we're school. So that's the magic of that. What do parents need to know specifically about how to apply for free and reduced?
Yeah,
that is a big thing for parents. It's so helpful if you need that support to make sure you're doing the paperwork to get that support.
Yeah, of course.
And we struggle, I'm going to be honest, getting our forms back. I know there's a direct option online that you can do. I know Ms. Chichester is going to be putting up a QR code here in a little bit. But so talk about how to access and the new app we have. Go down that path.
Okay, sure. So let's talk free and reduced applications first. We have paper copies available at every back to school. The swap shop that's at Garfield on Friday will be there as well. And then we also have Chromebooks set up and ready, like to the parent portal. So parents just need to log in. They can do them online. It's quicker, easier, all of the things. But we have all of the avenues available. After school starts, there'll be applications available in all of the administrative assistance offices, as well as the child nutrition office. And then, of course, you can call our office at any time if you have any questions. But it is very, very important not only to get your discount on lunches and breakfast, but it helps the district in many other ways.
Oh, sure. Right.
So
I'm thinking through Title I.
Title I, E-rates, all of the things.
Absolutely. Just kind of, that's a great segue because Title I funding is highly dependent on our percentage. And then just from a state aid standpoint, we get incrementally more money because of folks that are willing to go ahead and do those forms. I say that not lightly though. I think people know it takes money to support a school.
Of course.
And the money we glean means more support and services for kids. And so it's super, super important. So thank you for saying those things. And E-rate's big. That's all of our connectivity. So yes, absolutely.
And then the other really exciting thing that we have happening right now is we have a new school menu app. It's called My School Menu. There are QR codes listed on our website to download them. We also have QR codes at all the back to school nights that are coming up. It's a free app, but it's called My School Menu. You just put in Sand Springs District and then you choose your school, whatever school your child goes to. Breakfast, lunch, and snack menus are all listed there.
I have a question.
Okay.
So if there's a change in a menu item.
Great question.
Yeah. So what happens to that?
It's live. So oftentimes, just like if you do, a grocery delivery order to your house and they forgot to give you something, it's the same thing. Our vendors show up with the semi trucks and sometimes we get shorted product.
Sure.
If that happens, we have to shift. And so moving forward, we make those changes available online. So they're live. So whatever it says we're having that day is actually what we're having that day.
Right.
It's also very interactive.
Gotcha. So if little Andy is not really loving the fact that he's not going to bring his lunch, or you're worried about maybe what's on the menu and you can't remember because the paper copy or however you do that on your fridge is missing, or you can just go straight up to the app and see what's for breakfast and lunch that day.
You can.
And talk about it that morning. It's that easy.
That morning, the day
before. I know this because
before.
I downloaded it.
It's very user-friendly.
It's so cool.
You can click on it and it'll tell you the nutritional facts, known allergies, the top 9 known allergies anyway. It's just, there's a lot of cool information.
You have done an amazing job.
Thank you.
I just want you to know that. So in the short, 8 months, not 10 months? 10 months?
It's crazy.
That you've been here, you have done an amazing job, and we were really proud to have you as in Sandite. You're sporting some Sandite shoes.
I am.
I'm going to tell you a little bit. I don't know what those are called.
Nike Dunks.
Oh, Dunks. That's right. I should know that. And they are black and gold.
And gold.
So there you go. She is all Sandite. Is there anything else you want to add before we end this segment?
I don't. I appreciate all the parent support. And if you need anything, call us.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
How would they get a hold of you?
You can call our child nutrition office at 918-246-1430, or you can email me directly, lacey.nidam@sandites.org.
And she is on the Sandite app probably already as well. I'll plug that one
in the
too.
directory.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you for being on the show, and we're going to shift forward a little bit more. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sandites, we're going to shift now to maybe one of my favorite topics, and that's the new Sand Springs Middle School, formerly Clyde Boyd Middle School. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history, but before I get into that segue completely, I have Dakota Neely here with me today. He is in year 2 of being the principal at Sand Springs Middle School. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Just relax. We're just going to have a really great conversation about the new building. I'm so excited. We've had a few people ask about the name shift. The board did vote for the new name at the August board meeting. So officially those minutes are going to the State Department of Ed to officially name the middle school, the Sand Springs Middle School, this school year. We want to make sure people know that we never would want to lose the historical value of the name. In fact, the sports complex or the gymnasiums that house things like wrestling, basketball, volleyball, archery, that's still going to glean the name Clyde Boyd Sports Complex. And then, of course, Thurman Garrett's name will still stay on the Thurman Garrett Auditorium. So never would we want to devalue the history of that building. It was built on several times, as you probably know if you've lived here very long. And each time there is a historical marker for each segment, and we're trying to just focus on a way to display those so that people that maybe don't know about the history of that site can peruse through and understand and learn. So I just wanted to say that up front. Dakota, we are going to have a new middle school open in how many days?
So
5?
Yeah.
5 school days, but technically 7 days total, if I'm counting right.
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
A little.
A little?
I mean, I think you're always nervous with new things.
Right?
So, yeah.
I was there yesterday, and by the way, Ethos, our architect team, and then, of course, Ellie Kearns, who has completed a lot of projects, were immaculate in just the planning and making sure the structure was suitable and appropriate for middle school level students, with a lot of thought about what teachers needed and windows, and there's a middle section that is a courtyard. I mean, the whole thing is going to be brilliant. And then I was joking with Lacey Nidam earlier about my fascination with cafeteria and the freezer and refrigerator space. And that's a whole problem I have probably.
It's beautiful.
Right. It was so interesting though. But mistakes happen. Miss Ragland texted yesterday and she said, look at this sign. Mm-hmm. And I said, what's wrong with it? She said, look at how it's spelled. Perseverance has an E on an A. So I texted our architect and said, hey, that needs to be corrected like yesterday. She goes, oh my goodness, the drawing was right, probably in printing. I don't know. So that'll be corrected. So there's some little things. You'll see blue tape, some places, needs a little paint touch up and stuff. Yeah. But overall, the building is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. I am forever proud of that facility and the students that are going to get the honor of going through the first time. It's so great. Yeah. Tell me about, let's start with, because it is new, the front has shifted to the north side.
Yes.
I just would hate for people to be confused about the how-tos with drop-off and pickup.
Yeah,
so let's start there, Mr. Neely. How's that going to look the first day of school? What do parents do? Where the bus is going to be and all that?
Yeah, so the new front of the building, that lane, which was previously the bus lane, is going to be our parent pickup and drop off. Okay. So the right side is going to be kind of where you pull up to the building and drop off or pick up. Right. The left side is going to be a lane for passing to be able to get through.
So it's going to be a two-way in front of the building. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, so both one-way direction, but just that way.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Go around it one way. Gotcha.
And we can still get out. And
can I confuse people a little bit more?
Sure.
So let me just say that one more time. So it's one way going from west to east.
Yes.
If you're dropping off, you stay on the right. If you're driving through, be careful, but it's the second lane is for driving. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, the last thing this person wants to do is confuse anyone. So, okay, so what about buses?
So buses is going to be where we previously did parent pickup and drop off on the backside.
Okay.
Eventually, not quite when school starts, there will be a bus loop right there is why we're doing it there.
Right.
But so those students will exit out of the auditorium.
Right.
To be able to go to the buses at the end of the day.
So when they drop off at school, do the students go into the auditorium or gym or what's the setup?
Yes. So we're going to have our students go into the auditorium starting this year because it'll be closer to the cafeteria where they can go eat breakfast and things.
That's great. And there's a trail, like there's going to be a sidewalk.
Yes, there will be a sidewalk in between the auditorium and the new building. And for sixth graders, I know it's a little bit of a trek.
Right.
But there will be a trail right there too for them to be able to walk over to it.
Yeah. It'll be a trek at first. I think people will get accustomed to it. And I think about campuses of some of our larger districts that are neighbors. Yeah. And they just it's everywhere. And so it will be good.
It will. Good. And it's no further than, previously our sixth graders going to band, it's the exact same distance. So they'll get used to it. It'll just take time.
It's just new. Eventually there will be asphalt though, and all that dirt will be cleaned up. It looks incredibly different. I had not realized how different it looks because you can see right past the school to the housing addition. Yes. It's on 33rd. So big change. How about the aesthetics of the building? What do you feel when you go inside? I don't know about you. The lights,
it just feels better. It's just, and not to knock the old building, but it was getting there.
It was time.
And I was lucky enough, I had the 8th grade football team help me move boxes in yesterday morning and getting to see those boys walk through the building, the excitement, and almost like I know this sounds weird, but the reverence for it, like, oh my gosh, we get this brand new building was just, it was more exciting for me to watch them experience it than really for me because they deserve it. They do deserve it.
So something about having new, I think elicits kind of a pride in I should take care of it.
Yes.
So I know you and I have talked a lot about teaching our kids because I feel like things get old and you just don't revere it much and maybe even not respect it and some vandalism can happen. And I know from experience that decreases a lot when they take pride in this was built for us. And so hopefully, we're still going to be a little bit persnickety about let's take care of our building. But I think that's just comes with the territory of I should take care of it because it's new.
Yeah.
So let's shift a little bit. So it's a new year, new day for the middle school. What's new that the parents can look forward to? Or what do you see as just how's it going to go at the beginning of the year? Strategies?
Yeah. Well, first, grace, please, because we're figuring it out too in this brand new building. But I think there's a lot of exciting things. Our parent teacher organization is officially going to start this year.
Yes.
We have scheduled pickup tomorrow.
Wow.
Which we're waiting a little bit before we let students come into the building. So we're going to do that in the gym. But hopefully next week we're going to have a day where we're going to let parents and students come and walk their schedules as well. We just want to give the construction team a little bit of time to get a few things finished. Yeah. I think there's also, the courtyard you mentioned. It's a Socrative style sort of extra classroom.
Yes.
I think the kids will love that. And I just think the cafeteria, I know that's a weird thing to be excited about but it's not a dungeon anymore with no windows. There's beautiful windows. It's well kept. And I think the kids will really enjoy that space.
And it's branded. One of my favorite things is the gold around the serving lines, and there's 4 serving lines.
4 serving lines, so kids will have more options this year than they've had in the past, which is amazing.
I know Ms. Nine was talking about that. I was jesting about going in the back and seeing the freezer. It's delightful. But anyway, the whole thing is just huge. And you keep going and going. A couple of teachers went back with me yesterday, and one of them said, this just keeps going on and on and on. It's a luxury compared to what we had before. So the media center is still going to be at the 6th grade center. So talk about that a little bit.
So our former Commons, which is where our 6th graders ate lunch, is going to become our media center for the time being. And Miss Starling has done a wonderful job turning it into a media center. And we're excited about that. Our 6th graders tend to be our deeper readers still, I think, coming from elementary.
Right.
And so I think they'll be excited to be able to have the library right there. And then, of course, we'll have our yearbook classes and things. And I think it'll actually make it more central and easier for people to access than our previous library.
Now, the cafeteria lunch schedule, you're going to have 3 lunches? 3 lunches. Okay.
We'll be able to have the entire grade. For each lunch, we'll have 6th graders first, then 7th graders, then 8th graders. So they'll each kind of have a 6th grade schedule, 7th grade schedule, and an 8th grade schedule.
When I was looking at the plan, of course, we've been working on the middle school. We completed, as you know, 3 major bond projects in 2 years. I'm just going to say our team's pretty tired. It is a lot, and I didn't realize the levity of what we were biting off. And so I'm really proud that we've accomplished it. It was a chore, to be honest, because it's just a lot of work. But I remember seeing the plans of the entrance and thinking, it's not as big as Charles Page, kind of going down that path. But it's brilliant. I was just enamored by when you put the plans on paper into actual space. It's amazing, and just how it's printed and stuff is nice. So the cafeteria is a storm shelter.
Yes.
Which is nice. So in the event of any kind of emergency, we lock that down and it becomes safe for kids to be in, and enough capacity that the entire school can be housed there, which is really cool. So that takes one more kind of element off of, I don't have to be nervous about that anymore.
Yes.
I mean, are you feeling that too?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, in the old building, it was kind of just hoping we could find the right spaces. But now we have a dedicated space we know our students will be safe in. So that it relieves me a lot.
And your office is in front of the building.
Yes.
Oh, which I walked through yesterday, and the SRO office is right in the front. You can see out the window, but you're getting a new person.
Yes.
And so we need to let people know. Do we have that person named as of now?
Yes. Okay. Officer Levi Lemon is going to be there. He was up there yesterday.
Was he? Okay.
Checking out the new digs.
Okay. The new digs. I love it.
He's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
He came up, was asking some questions about kind of his role. Because it's a little different than a normal officer. And, a big thing we want our officers to do in the schools to just build relationships and be with the kids. So it's really... Hey, go be their best friend.
Right.
Go talk with them.
Our parents are going to remember Jonathan Noah. Officer Noah is amazing. Plug to him. He's promoted to lieutenant, I think. So, folks, if you see Officer Noah around town, you might tell him congratulations. We are going to miss him so much. But we do really have a great relationship with our Sand Springs PD.
Yes.
So there's not going to be a gap that's not filled. I just, we did love our Officer Noah. He was great. What else is new? I know you've got the assistant principals are going to be housed upstairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to help kind of spread out where we are, because I think having us all kind of downstairs would have been rough. That way we can just be available for our students, because I think most people hear principal and think of discipline, and that's not necessarily what we do. We are trying to get to know our students and help them, and I know the public gets to see a little picture of what we do, but we have great assistant principals who care about our students.
Absolutely.
And they go check on them and walk in classes and participate in things with them, and they're amazing.
I don't want to forget Mr. Brown. We're kind of hyping the new middle school, the 7th and 8th grade portion of it, but there is a 6th grade center that's also a part of the middle school, and Mr. Brown does a really great job too. So we have 3, Michael Douglas, Angela Ragland, and of course Austin Brown, that do a really great job.
And my plug for Mr. Brown, he is phenomenal. I've not met a man who cares for students so deeply and truly wants to help them. And I have a daughter who will be in 6th grade this year, and I'm excited that she'll be with Mr. Brown, because he's wonderful.
Now, we've segregated the students, so talk to me about, we have 2 floors.
Yes.
Nice elevator. That was kind of the thing I was nervous about, is the elevator going to be ready, and it is. So how's that going to be segregated? Talk about programming, like what's where.
Yeah, so 8th grade will be on the top floor, 7th grade on the bottom. There will be a little intermingling of the floors, just like our STEM teacher, Mr. Watson, he's on the bottom floor because that's where the lab is.
Right.
So we'll have students who are going back and forth there, and some of our SPED classes are a mix of top and bottom. Right. So there will be a little bit of back and forth, but really part of that's just trying to help them be able to kind of focus on what they need to focus on, because 8th grade's different than 7th grade.
Right. So we revisioned, let's talk just briefly about the 2 spaces that remained. So the gym area, both the old and new gym, and the auditorium. And we really did kind of revision a segregation of programming in those 2 spaces. The gym's going to get a little bit of a reception, a little bit of a lobby area. Yeah. So that's what's going on over there. The spaces inside obviously are usable. We're going to be doing PE and such in those. But then the auditorium, we kept some classrooms there. So talk about that space, the auditorium space.
Yeah, so we're kind of branding it the Fine Arts Building. We kind of want it to be focused there. We took 4 classrooms and made them into 2, and one of those is going to be a larger drama room. Okay. Our drama teacher is phenomenal, Miss Burke.
She is.
And she hasn't really had a space for it, and so
she was housed at one of the
She was in one of the prefabs before, and then she even kind of just so she had enough space was setting up in the lobby of the auditorium for a good portion of last year, just to have space to work with those students. Right. But now she's going to have that space, which I'm super excited about. She is phenomenal and deserves that space.
Absolutely.
And then the other one, which I guess it's not technically fine arts, but we needed a space where we could really have our tech program at, and they use a lot of machines, so we needed a space where we could really make sure they had the ventilation and things they needed to do that safely. Right. So we're I know that we're still outfitting it a little bit, but we're trying to get that space prepared because our students love STEM and tech,
for sure.
And we need to do it right.
And it's an elective, so kind of envision kind of those elective spaces.
Band and choir,
all those things are kind of off the main building, which is great. And of course, the auditorium is going to remain intact.
Yes.
There, we're trying to manipulate the front of it so we don't have a mud hole, to be honest about it. We've had some drainage issues. I really promised the public I'm not a tree hater, but we get into a place where the roots start affecting sewage. And as you know, that became a dire problem last year.
It's a huge problem.
So trying to mitigate that, and tree roots can be the evil thing that gets into the drainage. There were 9 clean outs in front of Boyd, the old Boyd, that's true. And I don't think people realize what that means. It means they were destroyed somewhat by tree roots that were planted. And so just kind of a little bit of knowledge about how hard it is to maintain buildings and keep them running efficiently. So that's still in the works. Yeah. We have new bathroom space, like remodeled bathrooms in the auditorium now too.
And they look wonderful.
They do look wonderful.
They're more ADA compliant than they were previously.
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be a blessing for the students in the auditorium.
Right. The older buildings ADA wasn't really a thing in the 50s, 40s. And limestone, I think, is 30s. I mean, crazy. And so it takes a lot of manipulation to get those up to spec. Yes. I was having a conversation the other day with just simple air conditioning. And so when you think about when our buildings were built years ago, HVAC, while we've become so accustomed to it's a necessary thing now, but it wasn't even a thing before. And I'm going to age myself, but I went all through elementary school without AC. And even college, I was at OSU in Willard Hall. At the time, it was a residential hall and no AC. So it's just interesting how through the course of my lifetime, we've gotten to this place of this is where we're at. So it got a little facelift, and the gym will be getting those 2. Reserving the bathroom facelift in the gyms for a later project.
Yes.
We are really stretching ourselves to...
The locker rooms were redone for our students to try to kind of get us up to where we need to be for our student athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's interesting the number of team members you bring in, because that facility required, obviously, our maintenance, the norm, child nutrition, but then you're bringing in athletics and some of the other components that you don't think of, but it takes a full team to really capture the services that are needed at a site of that nature. So, it feels good though.
I'm excited. It's going to be a wonderful year.
I may start out my year at the middle school this time, so we'll see. All right, what else before we say goodbye to our Sandite friends? Anything else you want to add, Mr. Neely?
Just we're excited to see your kids. We love our students at the middle school. It's an integral time of their lives. Lots of changes going on, but we love them for that, and we hope we can help guide them in a direction that's going to benefit them.
Absolutely.
So.
Did you know that I was a middle school teacher? When I started out, that was my forte. I love them.
Yeah.
I love all of that. All of them are so fun. So it's an interesting time. And you're right, it is pivotal. So we want them to be partners. We want our parents and our team to be partners with us to provide the best services for our kids. So that's our big message. I think that's it. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Mm-hmm. So Sandites, we're going to shift one more time for the third segment. Another big idea that really our secondary team is responsible for, and the board, I feel like, will support. Before I introduce it, just know we're going to be talking about a canine detection program. I'm probably saying that wrong, Mr. Biven. And I'm sitting here with Ryan Biven, our principal at Charles Page High School. So Ryan, thank you for coming and sharing this podcast with us. I want to talk our parents through kind of the why behind a decision to recommend to the board a drug detection program with canines. And then get into a little bit of the details of what we learned, which I think was, at least for me, very enlightening. And then just talk about the rollout, what the purpose is, our intention, how that might look. So we're going to go into those three things. I have to say up front that I was probably the biggest resistor in the beginning of it. We've talked about a canine program for a while now. Years. It's true. I just felt like I wanted to be sure it wasn't a gotcha. In our district, we're not about being, we're about kids. We're about lifting them and making them better and supporting them and helping. And so I just wanted to make sure that we were doing those things which meets our mission. So I was the big dig my heels in for a minute. I will say when we had our meeting with the one company where we really drilled the guy, to be honest, asked a lot of questions, I was enlightened by a lot of things. And so I'll kind of, let's start talking about the why. Why do we need it? Because sometimes you get that reflection, do you have a problem? It's not about a problem. So let's talk about the why we would want to do
that. I think, as we were doing our research over the years, it was, in my mind anyway, and I believe yours too, it was a drug dog program. That's not really what it is. It's they actually don't even call them drug dogs. They're working canines.
Right.
And so, yes, they do hit on drugs, but they also hit on weapons and things of that nature. And so it's a piece of a larger plan. And as we've done research over the years, you've seen that, I've seen that, and I've become more comfortable with it.
Right.
And I believe everybody else will too once they see it's part of a bigger process. And
right. So I'm just going to kind of talk through some things I learned in our meeting, and again, subject to board approval in September. There's no doubt, but I didn't know they alert. Dogs alert. These dogs don't bark when they alert, or talk about how that looks. So a handler and the dog are certified together. So that team has worked together for some time.
Right.
So very well equipped. They have liability insurance, all the questions I ask, the perfunctory, do you carry insurance? What does that look like? How mean is the dog? That kind of stupid stuff.
Right.
But they work as a team. And so when they alert, talk about what that looks like.
Well, I think it's first of all important to know that these are not German Shepherds or the type of dog that are attack dogs. These are terriers.
Part of the retriever family.
Retrievers,
is what he said.
and They say they're very nice dogs. You can pet them. They're not attack dogs. And so I think the way that they alert could be different based on dog and trainer, because they are trained together and they are certified together, dog and trainer. And so I think it could look different, but it's not going to be a bark. It's not going to be a scratch at you or anything like that. I think it's going to be a very subtle alert. And typically they're not alerting on people either. And that's another important thing to know there.
Sure. The way I think he described it was just basically a stopping point, meaning my nose is what I'm looking at where I sense something is not right. Which is interesting. And I did feel better about the retriever type.
Me too.
And we'll get to the puppy program later, but the whole thing was fascinating to me. So that it actually don't alert on people. In fact, they don't search people. So talk about parking lots.
I think this is it's a prevention. We're not trying to catch people. I mean, the idea is to not catch people. The idea is for people not to bring things to school
that are contraband.
That are illegal. And it's all about student safety and the learning environment. What I was really impressed with as we were talking to the trainers is they're not school people, but they had they said a lot of good things about protecting their learning environment, and that was their main goal too, and that really stood out to me, and I really like that piece because that's my job, and that's my goal, is to protect the learning environment so students can come to school, feel comfortable, feel safe, and learn at their best ability.
Cell phone ban, right?
Absolutely.
Protect the learning environment.
It's a piece of the bigger process.
Exactly. So it's not just classrooms. So, and I want to hit on the word random because we're not pointing at people. We're not pointing on segments of the population. It really is, we don't even know when they're coming. So we give a calendar, we have blackout dates on it, and then they randomly show up. So it's not like Ryan Bivens going, oh, I want you to come this day, because that's not how that works.
Truly random. I won't even know when they're coming. They show up and say, we're here, we're ready to work. And so I think the main thing that they're going to be searching is parking lots. We're going to be going through the parking lots, checking cars. Again, this is a process to deter people from bringing it on campus. So be random searches through the parking lot, even by rows, by parts of the parking lot. We don't get to pick that. They do it randomly. Even skipping rows, skipping cars, it's completely random. They will come into the building as well and check out mainly bathrooms, hallways. The dogs can scent things even up into the ceiling tiles, and so they have a really good nose for this. And so, again, drugs, weapons, other things like that. And so definitely not a gotcha thing. And I'll probably say that way too many times.
No, I think that's really important.
This is a prevention.
We really would like kids not to bring the stuff to school.
Right. Absolutely. That's the goal.
Don't bring it. I'd like for them not to do it too, anywhere. But certainly don't bring it to school. I mean, we would like to say we have a drug-free environment without any kind of temptation of what might be available. And so that really, for me, was a big selling point. Let's just keep it out. So it's interesting because they will alert on a ceiling tile. It's kind of a hiding place sometimes.
It can be in bathrooms. And, I think it's also important to understand, like, the drug scene has changed over the years, recent years, to where a human can't smell the drugs that people are using now. Sometimes they're odorless, but the dogs can. And so this is a way to get the drugs out of the building. And that's the whole goal.
The list of drugs that they were talking about and weapons was interesting. So it's not just your typical THC vape or whatever. It's everything.
It is everything. It's very comprehensive list that they are trained.
Alcohol
even alcohol, and so to me, if we can prevent some of that from coming on campus, why wouldn't we do
Absolutely.
it? It makes no sense not to do it.
Right.
And so,
So, our board meeting is the very beginning of September. I think, and I guess that we're new to this game, Sandite, so we're going to be learning a little bit too as we go, and that's fair. But I think that probably beginning of September will be when it starts. There's a whole piece of some contractual things that we have to work out, but I think sooner than later is our goal. At least it is for me. So beginning September is pretty quick after school starts. Is what I'm going to tell you. 20th, and then we're into September. So they also have a puppy program, because the other thing I learned is we don't sign a contract with just our middle school. So it's not like we're not targeting at all, but it's not just about middle school, Page Academy maybe, and Charles Page High School, including the freshman academy. But they prep kids from kindergarten on, so they could show up even at ECEC and bring the puppies, talk through, these are puppies, but they're working dogs. What does that mean? And so having a sense of understanding from beginning to end of the purpose, which I think is fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's great. I think, it is going to be new to us. It's going to be new to our families. We're not trying to scare anybody.
Right.
We want to be very open and honest about what's going on. And I think getting the puppies down into the elementaries where everybody's just used to it.
Right.
Over the years, it's just going to be second nature to us in the long run. And I love that they go down to the elementary. That's great. So
we had a training. We had a leadership retreat last week, as you were there. But we talked about student searches. Mm-hmm. And in no way is this program connected to our SRO program that's in relationship with the Sand Springs Police Department. In fact, the words "at bay" or "down the hall," "not near," those kind of words came up. So when they come, you're in charge.
Right. And that's another thing that I really like about this program is that this is what they do.
Right.
That they don't do other things. They're not in charge of keeping the whole town of Sand Springs safe like our SSPD are.
Right.
They are in charge of working their canine.
Right.
And then working with schools and people like me to keep our schools safe. And so if a dog were to hit on something, then that's where the admin come in, not the police, the police. And then we do our typical thing. If we need police, then we would call them. And so they're definitely not working in cahoots with the police. They're completely separate.
So the words reasonable suspicion came up at our training. I think it's important for our public to know what that means.
Right.
In terms of your responsibility, really,
yes,
to take care of business when you have reasonable suspicion. So do you mind talking briefly about that just a minute?
In order for us to search a student, we have to have reasonable suspicion that they have something that we won't. That's not okay to have on campus.
Right.
And so what the drug dog does is allows us, or it gives us reasonable suspicion when they hit on a car to look into that car.
Right.
And so, again, when students come on campus, they as long as we have reasonable suspicion, we can search them and will, because it's our duty to keep kids safe, and that's what we're going to do.
Right. Property of the school is property of the school, and you have the right to search that. So ceiling tiles, desks, all that stuff. And then a reasonable suspicion on a hit for a vehicle would also be a reason why you could have the ability to search. So, gosh, what else do we need to hit? I was just thinking through the relationship between the police officer. We have a new resource officer at Charles Page. So Ms. Christy Behar, Christy Behar will be on campus this year. I'm going to be honest, she was at our meeting too, to get very huge clarity alongside our entire team about what her role is, so completely understands that. if there were an instance where you were to find something was found inside a vehicle that was contraband or not legal, then that is a transference to the police. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
That's when we would shift the drug dogs out of that, or the working canines. I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to that as well. We would shift. They would be done with that, and it's on the admin now to call Officer Bihar or other SSPD in to take over the illegal. Now it's a crime, and they would take over at that point.
I have probably a million more things I could talk about, but I think this was a great intro into a little bit about the program for parents. I'm sure we'll get some questions later on. I know you're talking through how you, with a program, introduce the idea to the students. That's going to be kind of an entrance into, hey guys, this is happening, that kind of thing. So is there any last comment you want to make? What do you think the people
just to drive home again, we're not trying to catch students with drugs or with weapons. We're trying to prevent, and then if they do bring them on campus, we do want to catch them, and so we can stop it. The main goal of the goal of coming to school is to learn, and that's what we're all about, and that's what we're trying to do at the highest level possible. And so
you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
By the way, I love our team at Charles Page. They have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of expertise. So what you employ with the students is much appreciated by not just me, but the public at large. So I think that's it, unless you can think of anything else.
I don't think so, not at this time.
For now, we're going to say goodbye, and Sandites will be back, I'm sure, in maybe a short month. It'll seem like not that long, probably, with another segment. So have a great start to the school year.